Hello, so as you may be able to see, I'm wearing my stab vest, but unfortunately I've been told that only cowards wear stab vests, and really, or anti-stab vests, and really real men don't need them, because I guess real men enjoy being stabbed to death if that's a threat they might encounter. So I thought I'd use their logic in this video, and I'd think of more equipment you don't actually need if you're a real man. So I guess this would apply to kind of every walk of life and with any sort of personal protective equipment. So similarly to stab vests, I guess soldiers don't need helmets and body armour either, because I guess if they're getting shot at and there's shrapnel flying around, really their skin's good enough to deal with it. And I think while we're on the subject of soldiers, they shouldn't actually be allowed camouflage, because that makes it harder for them to see, which is unsporting. So if they were real men, they'd wear high-vis jackets. Similarly though, if you had people on roadworks or doing stuff in the dark, where it might, there's a likelihood they might be killed by a car or something like that, those people need to wear camouflage, so it's actually harder to see them, so they're more likely to accidentally be hit and killed. Because if they're real men, they can just shrug off being hit by a car. So I think that would be a good start, really, because obviously, as we know, only cowards would wear something to protect their life. Similarly, if you're a construction worker and you're on a construction site, I think really you shouldn't be wearing a hard hat, because if you're wearing a hard hat and something falls on your head, it's less likely to kill you. So, using that logic, really what you should do if you're in a construction site is not wear a hard hat, so an easily preventable death would actually, kill you if something just fell from a couple of stories up and hit you on the head. Because, if you were killed by that, then, you obviously weren't manly enough because you should have had a harder skull, I guess. I think that's the logic. So what else? I guess when you're in your car, you should never use a seatbelt, because, if you're in a crash where a seatbelt could have saved your life, sorry, you weren't hard enough, you should have just willed yourself to stay in the chair when, in your driving seat when you crashed. So make sure you endanger other people as well as yourselves by not actually wearing a seatbelt. Also, if you're riding a bicycle or a motorcycle, don't wear a crash helmet or anything like that. Don't wear armour. Don't make yourself visible at all, because really what you want is to be hit by a car, and then, because you're a hard man if you get splattered everywhere. Obviously, because the sort of personal protective equipment that would have saved your life is definitely what you should have used. I'm sure there's some more examples. Oh yeah, if you're a deep sea diver, or just, regular diver, don't bother with an oxygen tank or, air tank. The reason being, obviously, that these sort of tanks, they give you air, but a real diver wouldn't need them. They'd have very good lung capacity, so they could dive, for ages without actually having an air tank on. I think that would be the way to do it. And then, they're so hard, that they could have salt water in their lungs and it wouldn't bother them at all. Wow, so yeah, firefighters, they shouldn't wear helmets, if there's any burning building falling on top of them. That's fine. They don't need respirators, really. They should just breathe in that smoke and all the burning horrible fumes. Their lungs can deal with it because they're hard men. They shouldn't have fire retardant clothes on, actually. What they should do is soak their clothes in petrol, because that would be make them far manlier, if to go into a burning building and then immolate. That would show everybody how tough they really are. Now, I'm sure there's other examples of this, because you can really apply it to any walk of life. Anything that might protect you, personal protective equipment. Oh yeah, because I talk about gas masks a lot, I guess, yeah, if there's a chemical attack, you're exposed to chemicals either in industry or the military or whatever else, you shouldn't wear one of these masks. You should, just inhale all the phosgene, inhale all the chlorine, inhale all the nerve agent, everything like that. Every kind of preventable, horrible chemical that you could inhale, just take it in, because, you're a coward if you need a mask. What's wrong with that? So, as I said, I'm sure there's far more applications we could apply this to, but the important thing to know is only a coward would wear a vest if they are actually concerned about their safety, because they live in a crime-ridden shithole. You should just be glad that you get stabbed. So, there we go. As you've heard from this video, only a coward would wear a stab-proof vest, or a stab-resistant vest, or, bullet-resistant vest, simply because, a real man would just not wear any vest at all and would just happily get stabbed by all the growing, crime rate problems that we have in the UK. So there you go, you've heard it from these people. What you really need to do is, if you're in any kind of situation where a piece of clothing or protective equipment would save your life, or, reduce the chances of serious injury or death, what you should actually say is, nah, I'm a real man, stab me all you want, I've developed an immunity to blades. Because I think we'd actually find, really, that the real hard men that talk about how hard they are, not wearing a Kevlar vest and running the risk of being stabbed, would actually probably be crying on the floor as they slowly bleed out, being a completely unnecessary death. But there you go. So yeah, as said before in other videos, these vests are really good if you want to buy one cheap. You can always wear a coat over it, like I'd recommend if you're wearing one of these out in public. If you want to spend a bit more, you can probably get a much thinner, lighter version of one of these vests. But the point stands that, you know, these are very good protective bits of equipment, especially if you're in a country with a fast developing, horrible, violent crime rate. You know, knifings and shootings going up through the roof. But let's cut police numbers further, because apparently the police have nothing to do with violent crime rises, and you know, it's all because the knives and guns made people do it. But the guns are illegal, so they can't exist. So there you go.